Greetings fellow guitar travellers, it's Rowan J Parker here and welcome back to episode 2 of Fusion Essentials Outside Improvisation, Melodic Minor Superimposition. Yes, I know, somewhat unwieldy title, but that's what it's called. That's what I've decided to call it in any rate. Anywho, before we get into today's lesson, which is looking at C melodic minor on top of A minor 6, oh my god, before we get into that, I'd like to encourage you to have a look at my website. That's www.rowanjparker.com. Enough of the plugging, which I plug to death endlessly. Go and visit the site, subscribe to the site, and buy some things in the store if you like. Alright, now, on with part 2 of the lesson, off we go. Now here's our next candidate for consideration, it's C melodic minor. Let's look at that. C melodic minor is C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B and C. So once again, comparing those notes with the chord, let's just see what we have. C is the minor third, the flat third of the A minor chord, very inside. Then D, 4th or 11th, implying A minor 11. Then our first interesting note we have E flat, which is the flattened 5th. The blue note, if you like. It's the note you would find in the blues scale, which defines the character of that scale. So there's something of a relationship between this sound and the blues scale itself. Alright, so we've got flat 3, 4, 11, and then flat 5, the blue note. Then we've got F. Now, in relationship to the chord, this can either be described as the sharpened 5th or the flattened 6th, if you prefer. It's inharmonically the same. So we've got the sharp 5 here. The next note is G, which is the flat 7 of the chord, the minor 7th of the chord. And then the next note, of course, is A, which is just our good old root, And then the next note is B, which is the 9th, as you should know, 2nd or 9. And then we're back to C, which is just a flat third again. So the effect of playing C melodic minor on top of our A minor 7 chord is to create alterations to the 5th to imply, or not just imply but state, a flat 5th and a sharp 5th. So fundamentally that's the sound you're getting when you do this superimposition. When you play C melodic minor on top of the A minor 7 chord, you're getting the sound of the flat 5th and the sharp 5th. Now there is actually a name for this mode. It's one of the modes of melodic minor. It can either be called Aeolian flat 5, because it's like a natural minor scale, Aeolian mode with a flattened 5th, or you can call it Locrian natural 2, which is normally how I refer to the scale as Locrian natural 2. Whichever way you call it, that's the concept. Okay, so we can see that C melodic minor will work, create a little bit of dissonance because we're going to start messing about with the 5ths. Alright, so that's that approach. Now let's listen to a little improvisation using some C melodic minor, or Locrian natural 2 if you prefer, or Aeolian flat 5. Let's do it anyway. Okay, here we go with the C melodic minor playing demo over our A minor 6 chord. Again, we will linger or sustain upon each note so we can listen to exactly how each sounds against the chord and determine relative levels of consonance and dissonance. So let's have a listen and see what we have. Okay, the first note is C, which is the flattened third of the A minor chord, completely inside. Now D, 4th or 11th. Perfectly nice. Now we have the E flat, which is the flattened 5th, which is a little bit dissonant, but we think with the blues scale sound, which contains a flat 5, it's pretty acceptable. Next note up we have, right, this is F, which is the sharpened 5th or flat 6 of the A minor chord. Now this is a bit dissonant because the note which is in the chord is the major 6. So we've actually got a clash of the major 6 against the minor 6. So that's why that sounds quite dissonant. Let's move on to the next note, which is G. Now that's just the flat 7th, minor 7th of the A minor 7 chord, A minor chord, very inside. Then we have A, which is just the roots, so that's fine. Boring though. And then B, which is the 2nd or 9th, possibly my favourite colour tone. And then back to C. So let's see what we can make out of this little guy. intense and dark, but to my ears that sounds quite beautiful. If we can be careful with the dissonances of the flat 5 and the sharp 5, we can produce some really, really lovely effects. So for me, although it is a bit outside, it's still a really great, almost inside, sounds almost inside to me now, because I've accepted the dissonance of the flat and 5th and the sharp and 5th. Okay, so that is your C melodic approach. Let's crack on again and look at the next one. This is going to be the E flat melodic minor approach, mucho outness. Okay, that does it for this episode. So we've looked at A melodic minor and C melodic minor. Tune in next week for E flat melodic minor. Quite outside sounding, but it's a good one. Until then, keep jazzing, fusion and rocking, or whatever your poison is, and I will see you next week. Farewell!